Hey everyone, welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're on a mission. We are hunting down the ultimate, budget-friendly, heavy-duty truck scanner, something under $500. We're going to stack up contenders from Launch, Autel, and OTR Performance to see what can actually handle complex after-treatment diagnostics and, most importantly, keep your rigs out of the dealership. $475. You know what that is, right? That's the average cost of a single diagnostic visit to a dealer. And that's just to plug in a computer and tell you what's wrong. No wrench is turned yet. When you factor in the brutal reality of your truck sitting idle, just waiting for an appointment, man, you're easily looking at $2,000 or more in lost downtime revenue for most loads. It's an absolute profit killer. So here's how we're going to break this all down today. We'll start with the high cost of downtime, meet our contenders, look at price and update costs, dive into their actual diagnostic capabilities, test out their real-world usability, and finally, give you our final recommendations. All right, Section 1, the high cost of downtime. Let's get right into it. As we just mentioned, these costs stack up incredibly fast. You got that initial $475 diagnostic fee, right? Then you wait 2 to 3 days for a shop appointment, just bleeding lost revenue. If your truck just needs a forced DPF regen, that's another $400 and maybe 4 hours of just sitting around. Having a budget diagnostic tool right there in your cab to perform an in-house forced regen, that literally saves hundreds in shop fees, potentially thousands in tow bills, and gets you back on the road the exact same day. Moving on to Section 2, let's meet the diagnostic contenders. Now, to really understand value, we need a baseline to compare against. The Autel MaxiSys MS90R8CV is an incredible premium OEM standard tool. It's got massive coverage for Class 4 through 8 trucks, full bidirectional controls, J2534 pass-through programming, the whole shebang. But here's the catch. It costs somewhere between $3,000 and $3,800. If you run a high-volume professional dealership, well, that's your gold standard. But our mission today is finding a highly capable alternative for the mobile mechanic or owner-operator for under $500. And that brings us to our two budget heavyweights. On one side, we've got the Launch CRP 129 HD Elite. This is a robust, standalone hardware scanner sitting right at $499. On the other side, taking a totally different approach, is OTR Performance with their OTR Diagnostics platform. This one is a cloud-based software as a service, running right off your mobile device for $399 a year. Two very different ways to solve the same expensive problem. All right, Section 3, price and update costs. Let's talk money. Let's look at the real financial reality over time here. The Launch tool is a one-time $499 hardware cost, and crucially, it includes 2 years of free Wi-Fi updates. The best part, even if you never update it again, the tool doesn't lock you out, it just keeps working. Now, OTR Diagnostics has a lower barrier to entry at $399, but remember, that's a recurring annual subscription because you're paying for constant cloud connectivity and their AI-assisted data. Finally, looking back at our premium baseline, the Autel MaxiSys, that's over $3,000 up front, plus a pretty hefty $599 annual update fee. On to Section 4, diagnostic and service capabilities. What can these actually do? As you know, modern trucks rely heavily on two main systems to meet emission standards. First, the DPF, or diesel particulate filter, traps soot from the exhaust. Over time, it clogs up and needs to be regenerated, basically burned off at extreme heat. To diagnose this, you need to track DPF soot load and pressure values. Then you have the SCR, or Selective Catalytic Reduction System, which injects DEF fluid. Diagnosing this side means monitoring DEF quality, SCR efficiency, and NOx sensor data to make sure it's converting harmful nitrogen oxides into harmless water vapor. Both systems are super sensitive, and you absolutely need specialized software to diagnose and reset them. And when it comes to talking to those systems, vehicle coverage is literally everything. The Launch scanner boasts incredibly broad compatibility. We're talking over 56 global brands, meaning it works on a huge variety of commercial vehicles worldwide. OTR Diagnostics takes a much more surgical approach. They focus super deeply on major North American diesel engines from 2008 onwards, specifically your Cummins, Detroit, PACCAR, Volvo, and Mack engines, along with Freightliner, Kenworth, Peterbilt, and International chassis. For those heavy hitters, they give you dealer-level command access. Let's talk about the forced DPF regen process. First things first, you've got to ensure safety conditions are met. Engine idling, coolant above 60 degrees Celsius, and the truck in neutral. Then, you use your tool to command the regen. The ECU automatically takes over, bumping those RPMs up to somewhere between 1,500 and 2,000. Finally, the DPF temperature absolutely skyrockets, hitting 650 degrees Celsius to safely incinerate that built-up carbon soot. It's a fully automated process that both of these budget tools handle brilliantly, with no human intervention needed once it starts. When you're out there being an ECU warrior, testing these tools, you're going to encounter some common real-world codes. Take an SPN 4363, an SPN 3719 for DPF restriction, or maybe an SPN 5246 for an SCR D-rate. For a seasoned tech, the 4363 tells you there's a plausibility error with the exhaust gas temp sensor downstream of the SCR. Now, both launch and OTR are great here. They don't just throw a raw code at you. They read both active and inactive DTCs and give you the full text description, which lets you trace the exact sensor that's causing your D-rate. Okay, Section 5, Real-World Usability. Let's see how they handle out in the shop. So, the launch tool is this sturdy, standalone device. It's got a 4-inch touchscreen, runs on a really snappy Android 8.1 processor, and is completely plug-and-play. Plus, it has excellent live data graphing capabilities, and data refresh speeds are solid. You don't need to pair it to anything, just plug it in and go. OTR Diagnostics, however, goes for a sleek, bring-your-own-device vibe. You just plug their little Bluetooth adapter into the port, and it beams all the live data straight to their mobile app. This gives you awesome cellular convenience, fast refresh speeds right on your phone, and it automatically logs your truck's history securely in the cloud. And finally, Section 6, Final Recommendations. So here's the breakdown. If you're an independent mechanic or a mobile tech working on a wide variety of global equipment, and you want absolutely zero subscription traps, the Launch CRP 129 HD is for sure your winner. Honestly, it pays for itself the very first time you use it. But if you're a fleet owner or an owner-operator who really wants your fault codes tracked in the cloud, complete with an AI system giving you step-by-step repair guidance right on your phone, then OTR Diagnostics is totally worth that annual fee. And of course, if you run a massive professional dealership and need total adaptation and programming capabilities, well, you're going to have to open the checkbook for the Autel MS908CV. Look, modern emissions systems aren't going away anytime soon, and dealership labor rates are literally only going up. By investing under $500 today, you can turn days of paralyzing downtime into a 1-hour in-house repair. So, I'll leave you with this question to chew on. Are you going to keep paying $475 just for someone to tell you what's wrong? Or are you ready to take control of your downtime and become your own fleet manager? Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer, and I really hope this helps you keep those rigs rolling.